Hi, in this video we're going to talk about percent proportions. Well, first of all, what is a percent? Well, a percent is when a ratio is compared to 100, and that extra word is there, comparison. It's when a percent is compared to 100, okay? So, for instance, we have this ratio, we have whatever percentage is being compared to 100, and we have a part to a whole that we're actually comparing that to. So what we have when we have a percent proportion is two equivalent ratios, and one of those ratios is actually a percent, while the other is the part over the whole. Um, so the way we set these up, let's go ahead and try. So remember that it's part over whole compares percent to 100. And once we know what the percent is, then we don't have to put the percent symbol in the proportion because it's taken care of by comparing that number to 100. That tells us that it's a percent. Okay, so let's get some practice setting these up. So it says set up each problem situation as a proportion, as a percent proportion, then solve. So when it asks you to set something up as a percent proportion, you need to actually show the proportion. Yes, there are other ways that you could solve, but we're testing to see if you can identify and make the connection by using a percent proportion. Okay, so it says round your answers to the nearest hundredths place where necessary. Okay, a baseball pitcher won 80% of its game of the games in which he pitched in. If he pitched 35 games, how many games did he win? Well, if he won 80% of the games he pitched in, and he pitched a total of 35 games, then 35 games is our whole. The part is what we're missing, so we're going to call that X. So X represents the games he won, and that is the part. Okay, so out of all the games he played, so whole games played, or the total, so X over the whole, which is 35, is equal to 80 over 100. And 80 over 100 tells us that 80 is a percentage. Okay, so now let's cross multiply and solve for X. So I'm going to get 100X is equal to 80 times 35. And if you want to go ahead and multiply 80 times 35, you can, but I know that I'm going to divide by 100 in order to solve for X, and so I'm going to wait and do some canceling. Well, I know that 100 I can divide by 20, and 80 I can divide by 20, so 100 divided by 20 will leave me with 5, and 80 divided by 20 will leave me with 4. So what I'll have is 4 times 35 is equal to, 4 times 35 divided by 5 is equal to X. And so let's find out what that's equal to. X is equal to, go ahead and calculate that, and I got 28. And of course you should always put it back in to check it. 28 over 35 is equal to 80 divided by 100. And so the best way to check this, instead of trying to reduce everything, is to cross multiply. So I want to cross multiply 28 times 100. So 28 times 100 is equal to 2800. And then 80 times 35, which is equal to 2800 also. So 28 satisfies my equation. So X is 28, and that is 28 games won. So 28 games won. So make sure you actually state the units and what you were trying to find when it's a real life problem. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a chance to work out the Jerry and electrician problem. So go ahead and try that one on your own. So try to set it up and compare it to a percent. It says Jerry, an electrician, worked 7 months out of the year. What percent of the year did he work? Okay, go ahead and find that. You're looking for the percent this time. Okay, so for setting this one up, you should have done the following. So you have 7 months, and since there are 12 months in 1 year, you want to compare month to month. So 7 months to 12 months is equal to what percentage of 100? So in order to actually get an accurate, correct percent, then you need to convert that 1 year to 12 months so that we have a true ratio. So now we can cross multiply. And so I have 7 times 100 is equal to 12 times x. And so go ahead and solve for that. You're dividing both sides by 12. So go ahead and calculate that. And so x is equal to what? Okay, you should have gotten 58.3%. And you can round that, or 33%. It said round to the nearest hundred, so 58.33%. And so since it's a percentage, you can put the percent symbol. So he worked 58.3% out of the whole year. And that sounds pretty reasonable when you're comparing 58.33% of 12 months. But just to check anyway, 7 over 12. It's not going to be exact. It's going to be approximate because we've rounded. So we have 58.33 over 100. So go ahead and calculate those. We know that 7 times 100 will be 700. And then calculate 58 times 12. And that gives you approximately 700. And so those check out. It's close enough. Remember that we have a little bit of error because of rounding, but it's close enough so that x being a value of 58.33% satisfies our equation. Okay, let's try one more. So I'm going to let you go back and do number 3, and I'm going to skip down to number 4. So it says there are 35 carpenters in a crew. On a certain day, 30 were present. What percent did not show up for work? So notice this one is a little tricky because it says what percent did not show up for work. But in the original problem, it told you that there are 34 and 30 were present. Okay, so what we have to do from that is we have to figure out how many did not show up. So we can calculate that. 36 minus 30 did not show up. So 6 did not show up. But it asks us for the percentage. So the part that did not show up is 6 compared to the total that were supposed to show up. That's 36 is equal to what percent over 100? And so what we have is we can cross multiply. And so that 600 is equal to 36x. Go ahead and divide by 36 on both sides. And what does that come out to be? So x is equal to the percentage that did not show up, which is actually what we want. So we have I got 16.67%. So 16.67% did not show up. Okay, so if you want to multiply that back out, 16.67 times 36 should give you 600, and it does if you plug it back in. Don't take my word for it, actually try it because I won't be there to check it for you on your test. All right, I hope this video has helped explain percent proportions. See you in the next video on gradients.